The next item on our agenda is a public hearing to consider planning application, to consider, where are we at here? Amended and restated Alberhill Villages Specific Plan number 2010-2, a development agreement 2016-2, and addendum to final environmental impact report SCH 201-206-1046. We'll call the public hearing to order at 6:34. Are there any disclosures from the commission members on this? Seeing none, Madam Administrative Secretary, do we have proof of publication? The notices that are required by law have been given.
Yes, we do.
Do we have the complete file of exhibits, correspondence, and other documents?
Yes,
And are there any written communications on this matter?
I have none.
All right. Will the staff representative please introduce yourself, sir, and present the staff report?
Good evening, Mr. Chair, Planning Commission members, Grant Taylor, Community Development Director. The item before you has three parts. The amended and restated Alberhill Villages Specific Plan. There's also a development agreement, and there's also an addendum to the final EIR. This specific plan was approved by the City Council back on June 14th of 2016, and we have some amendments to propose. Just a little background. Here's the project location. It's off of the I-15 and Lake Street. It's just south of Interstate 15, west of Lake. The eastern boundary borders Lake Street. Southeastern is Alberhill Ranch Specific Plan area. Horsley Canyon Ranch on the western boundary, and the southwest is the Cleveland National Forest. Here's an aerial of the project area. Big project, 1,375 acres. There's over 8,000 homes, 6 phases over 35 years, over 3.8 million square feet of non-residential uses. There's a 63-acre site for a university or a similar educational type use. There's an elementary school site. It's about 12 acres, up to 850 kids, 194 acres of open space, trails. There's a 41-acre lakeside park with a lake. There's a 46-acre sports park. There's other open space amenities. There's a 14-acre regional park. There's 2 town greens. There's 35 1-acre pocket parks. Lots of amenities involved in this project. The implementation, it's a 3-tier project. Tier 1 is tonight. The Alberhill Villages Specific Plan, amended and restated. This is an overall blueprint for the land use, development regulations, circulation, design. There's 6 phases, and Tier 2 would be a phased development plan. Once you go through the phases, we get into greater detail. We start talking about land use, circulation, development standards, design, greater detail. And finally, with Tier 3, once they get down to specific projects, we'll be looking at subdivision maps, design review, and the specifics of the development proposal. And here's on the left is what the City Council adopted, and on the right is what is proposed tonight. And apologies, our GIS person retired and I didn't know how to make the red circles, so I'll just describe it for you. The boundaries are the same. The land use designations, the open space, the only difference is you see the 2 lakes on the left. You look at the right, the smaller lake has been removed. That's it. That's the only changes to the land use map. And the primary provisions are to redefine the land use map, which we just showed you, also clarify ambiguities, mining activities, setbacks. The mining has different components. There's crushing plants, pretty loud, 1,500 feet setback. Processing, not as intrusive, conveyor belts, sand plant, 500 feet, and the excavation is pretty quiet. Only 300-foot setback is being proposed. One of the challenges was identifying a financing mechanism for that 46-acre sports park, and that we have done. And there's also clarify certain implementation provision, primarily to minor modifications. What exactly are there? What can the director can and cannot do administratively? What goes back to the Planning Commission? Basically, setting boundaries. Just to clarify a little further on the changes, figure 3.1 was the map we just showed. The smaller the lake will be removed. Section 3.5, staff had originally proposed project-wide development standards. We narrowed those subject to entitlements. They're more appropriate in the phase development plans, the design review, and the subdivision map. So we removed a large portion of those. Also, just to reiterate, the community facilities district for safety and maintenance are still there. Very important to make sure that those are there's financing to support that. Table 3.3-2 clarifies timing, phasing, and financial responsibility for the parks, especially that 46-acre regional sports park. That's a big facility, lots of amenities. The development agreement spells out the specifics of the financing mechanism. Also, section 4.3.12, interim surface mining land uses. The mining will be phased out over time as the phases are developed. We just wanted to clarify the processing, crushing, and excavation, and also the setbacks that I previously mentioned. And again, section 5.5, which if applicants propose modifications to the specific plan or the phase development plans, what are the procedures, what are the boundaries for processing these minor modifications. We're also proposing a development agreement, vested rights. The standards will remain over the years. Documents are living, breathing. There's changes. This would vest rights. There's development agreement fees. Also, there's the Alberhill park fee. $2 a square foot for development will be put into a fund. And a lot of square feet, that fund can get a significant amount of funding very, very quickly to develop that sports park. And also existing development fees would be locked in. Cities often do nexus studies. Fees never go down. They always go up. So lock those in. We did an addendum to the Alberhill Village's Specific Plan Environmental Impact Report. The council back in June of last year certified the final EIR. There was technical studies, traffic, biology, cultural resources, noise, air quality, drainage, yada, yada. We analyzed the amended and restated specific plan pursuant to CEQA, the California Environmental Quality Act. No new significant impacts were identified, so an addendum was prepared. Recommendation, 3 parts. We're recommending that the Planning Commission adopt a resolution which would recommend that the City Council approve the addendum to the final environmental impact report. Also, we're recommending the Planning Commission adopt a resolution that would recommend the City Council adopt an ordinance to approve this amended and restated Alberhill Village's specific plan. And third, we're recommending the Planning Commission adopt a resolution finding general plan consistency and recommending the City Council approve the development agreement. The city has been working with the developer on this amended and restated specific plan. It's good for both parties. It's good for the city. It protects the city, provides an opportunity for quality development, and staff does support it. Be glad to answer any questions, and the city attorney is very knowledgeable on this and would be happy to answer questions as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Do we have any questions for staff before we bring the applicant up?
Just briefly, regarding the surface mining, we
Yes.
changed the setbacks, so the excavation was going to be only 300 feet away?
Yes. Yes, that's consistent with the municipal code, the M3 extractive area. That's already consistent, and the excavation is generally quieter, not as intrusive as the conveyor belts. The rock crushing is pretty
True.
loud. I've been out there and heard it.
Yeah, the heavy equipment's still allowed. I mean, is this going to be limited to typical operational hours during the
The
week?
excavation is really the equivalent of a grading activity.
Okay.
It is daytime operation only. It's man-powered equipment. It's a scraper that it functions just like a traditional construction grading activity. So that's 300 feet. The rock crushing plant, which is has more significant impacts, is a 1,500-foot setback, meaning the city won't issue a residential building permit within 1,500 feet of that rock crushing plant.
Okay.
Right.
And then the conveyor belt system, the sand plant, and the kilns are enclosed for the most part, and so we imposed a 500-foot setback on that.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Not at this time? All right. Does the applicant or a representative from the applicant wish to address the city commission? Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chairman Armit and members of the Planning Commission. My
Mark?
name is Mark Jones.
Can you move the mic just a little
Yeah,
closer?
sorry?
No, it's
Can you
okay.
hear me okay now?
Perfect.
Much
Okay.
better.
I'll start over. Good evening to all of you, Chairman Armit and members of the Planning Commission. My name is Mark Jones. My place of residence is 10617 Viscano Street, Bakersfield, California, and I'm here this evening on behalf of Castle and Cook. We are a joint applicant with the city on this item tonight, so obviously we're here to offer our support for the amended and restated Alberhill Village's Specific Plan and Development Agreement that is before you tonight. We believe these items, when approved by the City Council, will clarify and improve the Alberhill Village's specific plan. We believe it'll make it a better project, and it will provide certainty in the development process. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank city staff for their very cooperative efforts in bringing this item forward to you. We support staff's recommendation, and we would ask that you recommend approval of this matter. Ken Crawford, our project engineer, is here tonight along with myself to answer any questions that you might have for us tonight. Thank you very much for your consideration.
Yeah. Questions for the applicant? All right, seeing none. We'll now receive comment from any person in the audience who wishes to speak on this matter. You may address the commission. We ask you to limit it to 3 minutes apiece. Do we have any speaker slips?
Yeah, I have Kim Cousins.
Kim Cousins, please approach the dais. Goes in reverse order,
Yeah.
probably.
Last one in, first one out.
Yeah, darn. So Kim Cousins, President and CEO of the Lake Elsinore Valley Chamber of Commerce, and it's a pleasure to be here before you tonight. We have been thrilled from the get-go about this project coming to Lake Elsinore. They're beeping me already. Oh. And we, along with the Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, are very supportive of this correction and amendment that we have before us. And looking forward to, in the May time period at ICSC Recon Las Vegas, to go out and recruit retailers to phase 1 and 2 of this project. And after being in this valley for 27 years in Lake Elsinore, to not have to drive somewhere for amenities would be quite a delight. So we are very supportive and encourage your yes vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we have Carrie Ruther.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, can you guys hear me? I always think it's like too far. Good evening, Chairman Armit and community liaisons, or planning commissions. I am the community liaison. My name is Carrie Ruther, and I'm here on behalf of Live Lake Elsinore, a coalition of supporters for the Alberhill Villages project, which we are talking about tonight. We would like to thank both the city and the developer for all of their hard work on this amended and restated Alberhill Villages project specific plan, which is a mouthful, and the amended development agreement. The Live Lake Elsinore Coalition is supportive of the Alberhill Villages project that will create new amenities for the residents within the city of Lake Elsinore. We believe that the item for you tonight puts forward a mutually beneficial and superior, I cannot read tonight, plan. We are in support of the staff's recommendation and ask you that you recommend approval as well this evening as it comes before you tonight. So thank you, and that's it.
Thank you.
I have Linda Ridenhour.
Welcome. Hello, Linda.
I'm Linda Ridenhour, and I spent the morning reading. I read every piece of information on your plan here, and I have a number of concerns. My first concern is on page 3 of 6, and it appears that we have a 35-year extension or completion. That concerns me a great deal. That seems like it's way too long. Another problem that I'm having is that some of the environmental work was done a number of years ago, like 1995, and some of that needs to be reworked. In the 7 mitigations that were listed there, a number of them have not been completed. One of the things is before they can excavate, they need to do a burrowing owl survey again 30 days before. And so there's a number of those sort of things in your environmental review. I'm also very concerned about the traffic. I think, as the other gentleman said, with his traffic, if we have 8,000 homes, and let's just give 2 cars per home, that's a tremendous amount of traffic that we're going to have. The county really needs to relook at how Lake Street will be able to be brought up to, even though we have the TUMP fees or whatever they're called, and that sort of thing. We really need to see how that's going to work out. I'm also concerned that I was out there about 3 weeks ago, and on that property there is a lake that was never mentioned in the environmental review. That's something that needs to be re-looked at because there are animals in that area. And so that's another one of my problems with the project. You have a number of pages that imply that things were reduced to non-significant. Many of these were not specifically reduced. So I would like to see you go back and look at a number of those. We also have the clean air resources. If we're going to put essentially 16,000 vehicles on the roads, there will be a significant impact on air quality. That was not addressed. And it just goes on and on and on. Whoops, that's my time. I hope you do not approve this project, and you especially need to relook through the environmental impact reports. Thank you.
Thank you. That it?
I don't have anyone else.
Quite a few people in the audience. Anybody else like to speak on this matter? Come on forward, sir. You could fill out a speaker slip when you're done, but...
I will do that.
All right, say your name and...
Alan Baldwin of Lash Street in Lake Elsinore and your
Welcome,
city
Alan.
treasurer.
Welcome.
And as a city treasurer, I'd like to say that this revision now has a positive impact on the city of Lake Elsinore in developing in one package 1,375 acres with one master developer enables planning resolutions that you wouldn't have had this property been sold off piece by piece and done 10 acres at a time. So this is a far better solution for the citizens of Lake Elsinore. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Well, I see a lot of people in the audience kind of sitting on their hands, going once, Going twice? All right. What else do we have here? Would city staff like to make any further comments?
Just very briefly, if I could.
Yeah, maybe respond to Linda.
Yeah, exactly. There's, Ms. Ridenhour has brought up some very valid concerns. The 35-year plan, I agree, it's too long, but that's the reality of development. Economies are good, economies are bad, but with build-out, different merchant builders, of course we would like to see it sooner, but that is very reasonable for a project of this size. Definitely did a lot of CEQA work and technical studies. The boxes sitting there, the two closest to me, the full ones, those are the technical studies. Biology, traffic, very detailed traffic analysis, mitigation measures. It was a very tedious project. The addendum was very thorough in reanalyzing it. Burrowing owl survey, very standard, got to do that. The existing lake was looked at. I don't know if that proposed lake is part of that, but we did look at that, and appropriate mitigation measures were included. Staff think it's a better project for the city. It protects us and provides great opportunities for amenities that we so much need. Thank you.
Looks like you want to speak. No?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I just wanted to point out, and I'm happy to answer any questions, but one thing before we forget, we do have two modifications to the development agreement that I want to make sure that we include into the record. Just generally speaking, what a development agreement does is it provides certainty in the development process. So this locks in, if you will, the land use controls that will regulate development for the life of the project. It doesn't lock in the existing development impact fees. I just want to make a clarification to what Mr. Taylor said. It provides an opportunity that when each phase development plan is approved, the development impact fees will be locked at the rate at the time the phase development plan is approved for a period of 5 years to incentivize quicker development. After that, any building permit pulled will pay the then applicable rate, whatever the rate is at the time the building permit is pulled. That's what the agreement says now. That's not changing. We are making a clarification, however, to the development agreement fee. So on top of the existing development impact fees, the developer has agreed to pay a one-time initial development impact fee of $100,000 to offset some of the costs of staff and the city attorney's time in preparing these documents and so forth, as well as a per building permit development agreement fee. And the initial amount of those fees is $4,500 for a single-family unit, $3,200 per unit for multifamily, $2,500 per unit for mixed-use dwelling units, and then $1 per square foot for commercial, retail, and industrial. I want to point out that that's the rate today. Each July, annually, throughout the term of this agreement, that those amounts will adjust up by the Engineering News Record Construction Cost Index, so that those will continue to grow. The clarification that we're going to recommend is that for purposes of the residential development agreement fee, two kinds of residences will be exempt, and this follows kind of the city standard with respect to development impact fees. One is low-income residential housing, so if there is a project that receives public subsidies and is a restricted low-income affordable housing project, they would be exempt from the DAG fee, and a disabled veterans project similarly would be exempt. Now, there's not necessarily either of those planned in this area, but if over the course of the project, those would be exempt from the development agreement fee. The second clarification with respect to the development agreement fees is private institutional uses and the sanctuary part of places of worship would be subject to the same dollar per square foot DAG fee. So what would be exempt are governmental buildings, public schools, the sanctuary building of a place of worship, but not the offices or ancillary buildings, and then nonprofit full-time schools for ages, or kindergarten through 12. So those uses are exempt, but we're clarifying that private institutional uses that don't fall into those categories and the non-sanctuary portion of places of worship would also pay these fees. We are in the process of running calculations based on the adjustment factor and full build-out, what this DAG fee will bring to the city, and it is, well, I haven't run the number yet, but it's in the millions, I think in excess of $25 million at today's rate. The Alberhill Park fee that Mr. Taylor pointed out at $2 an accessible square foot will generate at build out in excess of, I think, 23 million. So that Alberhill Park fee is the funding mechanism for the on-site improvements for the regional sports park. The only other change clarification that we want to make to the development agreement, as I said, the purpose of the development agreement is to vest the existing land use controls. And that, the way we define it in the development agreement is applicable rules and regulations. So that's a definition in the development agreement. And then from that, we exclude certain kinds of things like processing fees, uniform building code. Those don't get locked in. Those change as time goes on. Well, one of the things that we're adding to the exemption is the obligation for the owner or businesses, residences, future users of the property are subject to the city's general and special taxes. That's a standard provision that we just inadvertently left out of this one. So that will be a new section 1.3.4.10. And with that, I'll conclude those comments, and I'm available to answer questions.
All righty. Any other further comments from staff?
No, sir.
Does the applicant or their representative like to respond to any of the comments? All right. Then, do the members of the commission have any questions for staff?
No questions, but I do need to disclose that I do sit on the board of the Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
A comment. Stated and unstated behind what has occurred has been a great deal of work, and that is evident, and that I commend all parties for reaching this compromise that works better for everyone. It's gratifying.
Yeah, rarely does in a compromise does everybody get what they want, but this certainly is a better option for the city and hopefully the developer. With that, then I'll declare the hearing closed, the time at 7:02. Can you read the first resolution?
Sure. The first resolution is resolution number 2017-blank, a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Lake Elsinore, California, recommending that the City Council approve the addendum to the final environmental impact report for the amended and restated Alberhill Villages Specific Plan, State Clearinghouse number 201-206-1046, and the related development agreement.
Okay, so moved.
Second.
I have a motion from Vice Chair Gray and a second from Commissioner Ross. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That passes unanimously.
Sorry. The second resolution is a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Lake Elsinore, California, recommending that the City Council of the City of Lake Elsinore, California, adopt an ordinance approving the amended and restated Alberhill Villages Specific Plan number 2010-02.
Move.
Second.
All right, reverse order. I have a motion from Commissioner Ross, a second from Vice Chair Gray. Any further discussion on this matter? All in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
And the third and final resolution is a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Lake Elsinore, California, finding general plan consistency and recommending to the City Council of the City of Lake Elsinore, California, approval of a development agreement for the amended and restated Alberhill Villages Specific Plan, and those amendments as noted by staff in the presentation.
Motion?
Second.
All right, new faces there. We have a motion from Commissioner Clarenbeek, a second from Commissioner Carroll. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Passed unanimously. Moving on to business items. Seeing none. That's it. Do we have staff comments?
Just a few. Thank you, Mr. Chair, Planning Commission members. A couple big projects in the works. We've been diligently working to update the East Lake Specific Plan, the 3,000 acres over by the baseball stadium. We should, by the end of March, have a draft specific plan and draft environmental impact report for public consumption. We're also looking at a town hall meeting to spread the word, and we'll have it to the commission by June and the council no later than July. We've also started work on updating the downtown master plan. That's a high priority, but not as high as the East Lake Specific Plan, so we'll be following up with that after. And looks like we got some eateries coming on board soon. Stadium Pizza should be open in...
It's a beautiful building they did there. It turned out very nice.
Isn't that cool? With the sign on the facade and the breweries, and they'd better make it by March. I hear they're already taking reservations for events, so they step it up. And then the Mosca Bistro should be ready in March too, and then we got a coffee shop and bakery going into one of the vacant antique stores. Wow, a coffee shop on Main Street, imagine that.
Finally,
yeah. And we were hoping to get Central Plaza on the next meeting, but the developer missed the deadline on some traffic stuff, so we're going to have to push that back till March 21st, is it, Justin?
We are going March 21st to Planning Commission and March 28th to City Council.
Right. And that's all I have. Thank you.
We've received a number of new applications. I think a total of 200 new homes were requested. Some smaller commercial developments have been coming in. So we were hoping it would slow down a little bit, but we're not quite there yet. So it's a good problem to have.
Busy's a good thing.
It's a pleasure sitting with you tonight.
pretty uneventful, huh?
And, well, huge events. And then I just wanted to let the public know that both the sports complex development agreement and the amended and restated Alberhill Villages Specific Plan are both noticed for City Council consideration on the 14th.
Demarius or Tanya, did you have anything?
Nope.
All right. Then we'll start with commissioner comments. We'll start at the end and work our way down. Mr. Commissioner Clarby.
I have not much tonight. I thought it was a great job on the Alberhill plan, that was a tremendous compromise, and I think it's a good deal for both sides. So looking forward to continued development.
I would just ditto.
Commissioner Ross.
I would say the same, and thank you for all those who attended the meeting in the audience, and have a good night.
Been said.
I do just wanted to follow up really quick with staff and the interchange. Obviously, as planning commissioners, the gentleman in the audience was right. I mean, it's very frustrating when you don't come to these meetings very often, and the one thing that bothers you every morning you go to wherever you go is traffic backup, and we're constantly approving more and more development, and how is this going to get fixed? So, I just, maybe if we could do an update for commission on some of those projects so we can speak a little bit more clearly on where we are at with the relevant authorities. Obviously, Caltrans has a lot to do with it. We don't. And also maybe in the staff reports, we can make sure we highlight how I mean, we always do the tump fees and all those different things, but maybe more specifically on some of these bigger projects where those funds are going, if possible. Other than that, thank you guys very much for attending tonight. I agree with everybody else. I know it seemed pretty stalwart today, but there's a lot of effort that went into that compromise. So now go out and don't vote for, just kidding. Thank you guys. Meeting adjourned at, what time is it here?
7:08.
7:09. Thank you.
Good job.
I don't know about that. I stumbled through it.
No, you did wonderful.
Oh, the city should be opening those. Oh, no, actually.
So nothing bad to report?
I have all those things.